Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. As promised, we are bringing back Mr. Michael Swan, or what we refer to him as Swanee, for episode number 2. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, Zoob.
Hey, man, episode 1 was a lot of fun. Hopefully, people see that. Again, a teacher never making more than 50 grand a year, built a portfolio of 10 condos in Southern California, ended up with 1.6 million in equity, and then he started making real money. And that's what episode 2 is going to be about. Is what are you doing now to make real money? You've moved into multifamily. You stubbed your toe a little bit on the first 2 deals, lost a little bit of money, but you really found David Lindahl's strategy. You were looking at value add. You understand NOI. And in multifamily, unlike single family, the real money is made at refi or at sell. So I think we should just talk about it, probably open the eyes to a lot of individuals on my channel about what is possible. So where do you want to start this story?
And let's talk about, most of your viewers probably have less than 10 single family
Probably.
units, or they could have duplexes or quads or whatever it may be. And we need to talk about the difference between single family and multifamily to explain why I chose and you chose to go to that route. Now, for single family, you are at the mercy of comparative values. You're at the mercy of comps. So if comps are great, then you're like, oh man, I got all this equity. But if you go back to 2008, or you go back to even before that, there was times in our period where those appreciating single family went down dramatically. Some people lost their homes. They were upside down. They just gave their homes away, and they had to move somewhere. And guess where they had to move? They had to move into something smaller, downsizing, so they could move into a mobile home park, or they can move into the basement with their parents, family and friends, or they could move into an apartment complex, which I transitioned into. And what we noticed was rents did not go down in those apartment complexes. They just kept going up during that time period. And so we find out that the single family is based on comparative values, but apartment complexes are not based on comparative values. That's a secondary valuation. The primary valuation is NOI. So you said the word NOI, what is NOI? So NOI for an apartment complex is the total money coming in minus your expenses, not including your debt service.
Correct.
Not including the interest on your loan, and not including CapEx, which means when I replace flooring, when I replace windows, when I replace cabinets, when I replace, air conditioning, anything that's fixed in the unit, that doesn't go against the NOI. So we doing David Lindahl's Multifamily Millions. It's a book you can find. It's a high-level book. It's what we follow. It's kind of like the Bible we follow for repositioning these value plays. You find an apartment complex like we did in a nice blue-collar, hardworking neighborhood, not one of the sexy areas. I'm not talking high population growth like they talk about, where you're going to pay $100,000 a unit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about good blue collar.
So Swanee,
Midwest.
Quick question. You know the game of Monopoly, obviously, right?
Yes.
So obviously it's not Boardwalk, Park Place. It's none of these. I think they're greens after that. Where are you kind of on the board? Probably not the yellows or the reds.
We're in the B as in boy class. Neighborhoods. We have a 57 unit in Mentor, Ohio, in Lake County, Ohio. Average median level income is about $60,000 a year there. When we bought the 57 unit, it was average rents for $600 a month, and for 2-bedroom, 1 baths, $500 for 1-bedroom, 1 baths. It was like, this diamond in the rough, just sitting there in a nice neighborhood where the owner just screwed everything up. He was old and just had everything you could think of. Strippers,
what year did
drug
you get
dealers, everything inside of the complex. And those are the ones where the real money occurs. Where we bought it for $2 million, 57 units, and we think it's going to be worth. We think it's going to be worth between 4 and 4.5 million in a 3-year period. So we're almost at the end of year 2. Went through COVID and everything, but it's just amazing what you can do with these, and you're not at the mercy of comps. It's based on how can I increase the rents, $200 to $300 a unit, or a combination of increasing rents and decreasing expenses. So some of these old owners that had it primarily paid off, they were not watching everything above the line, total money coming in, and everything below the line. So when we take apart each of these complexes, when we're evaluating them, we noticed that they had high flush toilets. We're talking 4 or 5 gallons per flush.
Wow.
Going down, money going down the drain.
Exactly.
Just money just going down the drain. They're like, I don't care. I got it primarily paid off. That really didn't matter to me. But that's important, because every dollar we increase that NOI. Some people say it's like one of your previous guests say it's a 20-time rule. I think it's more like a 12-time rule, but it's like Grant Cardone. It's like 10 times, baby. It's 10-time rule, baby. And that's what's great, is that every dollar we increase that NOI, total money coming in minus the expenses, not including the debt service, not including CapEx, not including the interest on your loan, that does not go against your NOI. The banks tell me that it's worth 10 to 12 times that dollar.
That's awesome.
And your last guest said 20 times that dollar. Either way, no matter what, it's just amazing. And when you refinance these things, 3, 4, or 5 years down on fixed 10-year non-recourse debt, it's amazing. You get back double your money, and you still own the property at a 3.6% fixed for 10 years.
That's awesome.
And it's non-recourse. They can't come after your assets unless you were doing something dishonest, which I would never do. And so dishonest or illegal, and I would never do. And so I'm telling you, it gets less risky as you get bigger. I never thought, in my mind that would ever happen.
That's
on these.
amazing.
And so we're going to do all of those. We're going to do non-recourse loans on all of our properties eventually, whereas we started on regular bank debt. But just remember, you have to have the net worth on your team. You have to have the net worth of that loan balance. So these non-recourse loans, you need $1 million loan balance. So you need people on your team that have that net worth to be able to sign on those loans, even though it's non-recourse. You need to have those.
The banks make the rules, man. The banks got the money. The banks make the rules. So you got to. They're changing all the time.
They have to lend.
They
have to lend. They have to lend. The money just sits there.
The money has to keep going. So I always like talking about deals. So how'd you find the 57 units? A broker, a local knowledge, mailer?
You're gonna laugh if you listen to my last the last one we were just talking. The last one you featured me on today. Again, I'm pretty amped. So I was doing Craigslist, and now Facebook Marketplace has taken over, where I get thousands of views in 1 week. And I just press a button, copy and paste, and it goes right to the apartment complex manager, and their voicemail is completely full. They get probably, I get 100 messages, so I'll just push copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. And with my property manager's phone number, no evictions. We check your criminal background. You must make this much money, and call this number. And so my property manager's phone number is completely full. The way we found, and they don't like it. I don't care. I really don't care. Their job is to lease up my place to qualified people. If I get them more leads than they need, then they should answer their phone from 9 to 5. They should answer their phone, or they should have someone answer it for them. So I know I went off a little bit, but the way I found this 57 unit in 2019, right before COVID, August of 2019, I found it before that. Believe it or not, I placed a Craigslist ad that said Swanee will pay top dollar for your apartment complex. And the guy called me.
The owner.
And so the owner called me and he said, nice. Are you that guy that placed the ad for the Craigslist ad for the you'll buy my apartment complex? I said, yeah, that's me. I got some products there in Painesville, real close to you, right next to you, toward you. I have a 12 unit in Euclid. I have 24 unit in Akron. And he said, I don't want any of those brokers. Those brokers just want my money. They just want to steal my money. I don't want them. I said, okay, well, we'll get attorneys, and I have a real estate attorney there in Ohio, and you have your attorney, and we'll meet together and do this. And so this guy, like I said, he had strippers in there, he had drug dealers in there, in a nice neighborhood. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. He had sexual predators in the complex. He had, God. It was just a zoo. No, it was known as a what is it, a flop house drug den since the 60s, 70s in a nice neighborhood.
Wow, he's owned it a while.
But again, he didn't divulge any of that stuff. He didn't.
Of course.
Every time he lied about everything, and I already knew everything. So he lied about the roof. He's like, oh, look at this roof. It's this EP something rubber roof. It looks like the bottom of a pool. I got a 15-year warranty on that, so you're good to go. And so I would say, okay, can I get that warranty? Can you give me a copy of that warranty? And then finally he's like, there is no warranty. I said, okay, well then that's $100,000 off. So he wanted 2.5 million. Yeah. And so I said, okay, that's a lie. So I'm offering you now 2.4 million. Then he lied again. So I'm offering you 2.3 million. Then he lied again. I'm offering you 2.2. And then we're at the property inspection. I'm going through every unit. I'm like, why did you put vinyl plank flooring in half of these units for these people? I mean, I'm looking at the smell of cats, the smell of drugs, and I'm looking around like, oh my, why would you put new cabinets in for these people? Why would you put new flooring? So he did pretty well for like half of the units, and so I left the last card, which is the sexual predators. I left that until the very end, and so I was going over with him and his son. I'm looking at both of them. I'm only like 5'6", so dad isn't much taller than me, but the son is pretty tall. So they're looking back and forth. I'm like, is there anything you want to tell me now? Because we just did the property inspection. I know what I'm getting. Is there anything you want to tell me that I don't know? Yeah. And so the dad looks at the son looks, because the son was managing and the dad was kind of AWOL, and they're looking back and forth at each other. And then dad looks at the son goes, you mean like sexual predators? And I said, yeah, I'm a Catholic school teacher. I don't like what the priest did to the kids. And that's pretty disgusting that you have sexual predators in your complex. Yeah. And so, I was really hard on him. And then I came back to San Diego and on the patio, and I'm yelling at the guy on the phone, and my wife's freaking out. She left the house. I can't handle the stress. I'm like, it's not stress. It's just part of the game. We're gonna get this thing we're gonna take another 200,000 off the price. Yeah. It's gonna be $2 million when we buy this property. Yeah. And that's what it was. The final price was $2 million. Started at 2.5 and just kept going down, with no brokers involved. Okay. And they don't tell you a lot. So when you get in there, there's even more once you get in there and you figure out other problems that occurred. So we probably paid right for the property, but so $2 million for 57 units. I did the math, just over $35K a door. Yes. What was the mix? Ones and twos, or just ones, or? They're like 75% twos, 25% ones. Okay. Ones go easier. Ones are so much easier to rent than 2 bedrooms out there.
Yeah, it's funny how
whereas most people want a lot more 2 bedrooms. 1 bedrooms go like hotcakes, and they're much easier to rent out than 2 bedrooms.
I see that too.
And then people talk about 3 bedrooms also. They just get a lot more wear and tear when you have larger units on them in that respect.
So now go ahead. So now you close on it, $2 million. You saved $500,000. Congratulations. Mm-hmm. You probably get. What kind of loan?
That was a non-recourse loan.
Okay, good.
CBRE loan. I used David Lindahl's preferred lender at the time.
Nice.
To do that deal. We had 2 years interest only. So we're just getting through our second year here this August. We'll be done with our second year. Okay. And so we've already taken, the rents from average of $600 a month, and every time we replaced the tenant, we're now up about $870 a month for each of those units.
Nice.
Some of them we did major rehab, some of them we did not. Like I said, he did some things to him what he shouldn't have for these people, and so that was a benefit to us. Nice. We spent about $200,000 to fix it up and get rid of COVID. COVID hit really hard, and so we didn't have. This basically was besides a little neglectfulness by the seller, it was a really bad tenant base in a really nice neighborhood. So we knew we were going to probably have to get rid of at least 75% of these people and replace them with a higher class tenant. We knew we were going to have to do that in a 18-month to 2.5-year period. Anyway, that was part of the plan. It was a 7-year Freddie loan to begin with, and so non-recourse. So that we're probably about 6 months behind because of COVID. So we got 10 out right away, 10 bad people out right away. Then we started to do. I paid a lot of money for armed security. I paid for lighting right on the bad guys' units, spotlighting. I put just cameras, everything you can think of. And if people want to deal drugs and they want to do that stuff, they don't want to be noticed by people, and they're going to go to easier prey. And but the problem was with COVID, there wasn't anything we could do. Police didn't want to go, and then we had all that political stuff where they're worried about different types of people, and the police didn't want to come down on certain types of people also, even in a very conservative place like Lake County, Ohio. They were kind of hands off. And so we couldn't get much help with the police during COVID also, because of all of these protests and everything going on throughout our nation. It was really tough to get the police to help us. So we had to pay for armed security to be there, because they wouldn't do anything because they were worried of being the political agenda.
You got to protect the tenants, that's for sure. Okay, so you get into this, you plan for a 2 or 3 year kind of remodel. You have to replace 75% of the tenants. You budget 200 grand. I got to tell you, 200 grand doesn't seem like a lot, right? 200 grand, 57 units.
Yeah, we went through that pretty quick. Yeah, we went through that pretty quick. And so, in this past year, and so now, luckily, we've done a great job of getting a better tenant base. And we still have about 4 or 5 that need to still go. Tenants out of 57 still need to go, and they're going to be going pretty soon. They were kind of hiding more without staying under the radar. And so we
you had other problems that they were hiding from. We're just below the problems.
They were, but anyway, there was about 4 or 5 we still got to get rid of, but we've replaced them. We have a good tenant base with the ones we've replaced.
Nice.
And so that really, we were originally, of course, the owner lied. So he said he was getting 34,000 a month, but really it was 25,000 a month in gross income when we bought the property. So that was all lies. And then now we're up about between 40 and 45,000 gross income every month after 2 years.
Nice.
And we're really surpassing all of our goals in the way of gross income. We still have expense-wise, we still have to curtail some expenses. When you have a lower class tenant base, they don't treat your place very well. And sometimes they're vindictive when you have to get them out, they're not paying and stuff like that. So there are things that we have to pay for. So we're at the point now where all the money we're making profit-wise, we're putting back in to CapEx and getting the new tenant base being in there. And so we're almost there. I think it'll be another year. Instead of taking 2.5 years, I think it'll take 3 years to really reposition the product. And that money you're talking about, we're not raising any more money. We're just taking our profit and putting that into fixing that up. We just started distributions again. We had 6% in the first year. Everything was going well before COVID hit, and then COVID hit, and so we had to stop that for a while. So we should be at pretty close to 6% distributions in the second year. After all this is done, probably second quarter of 2021 here at the end of the second quarter, we'll probably give it like maybe 2 or 3% distributions. And then maybe the next quarter after that, maybe 2 or 3% distributions, the preferred return. Then I think we'll be off to the races based on what we're seeing numbers wise.
Because you're right on the cusp, right? I've done this before. I've turned buildings, never anything 57 units, but it's kind of the same story in 20 units and all of that. When you find a distressed seller, which this guy clearly was, who hasn't cared for a while. I mean, it's a journey. Right. What I found in my experience, I remember a 20 unit building that we did. We actually, in fairness, we had to turn the building twice, meaning tenant wise, because you don't go from the tenants you have to the tenants you want in one step.
Yeah, it's
Go
kind
from
of
the
a kind
tenants
of
you
a
have, then there's a middle ground, and then you go up. So
yes.
that
But
surprised me.
COVID was a different beast. I mean, a total different beast, because people were we're not wanting to move that much during COVID. And so now coming out of COVID, we noticed that, we're pre-leasing for August, September already, on the complex, for when we get these people out and fix up their units, for the ones that are still outliers that we need to get out. What I'm trying to say though is COVID was different than the past, what we dealt with.
Sure.
In the way of tenant base. And so we definitely hit it hard. The property management company that we hired, it was the second property management company we hired, because the first one, the lady had a stroke that was running it. So she had a lot of issues, and so she needed to get out of that property. So we hired another property that owns, they also a property manager that owns property there, and has a lot more units in that area. So we thought it would be good to have her doing it, because she already has property in that same little community. The problem with it was that, she thought this should take a 5 to 7 year period. I said, I don't have 5 to 7 year period.
Sorry, wrong answer.
We have to do this in a 2-year period. And so that, that's interesting, having to deal with the property management. And what was great about you and I is that we owned our own properties. I know I managed my own properties, and I would do day to day. So at least gave me an idea of when they're coming at me with different excuses why things can't be done. Eventually we just have to say, just do it.
Go.
And I said, so just do it.
Stop talking.
It's like a little kid, like a little kid, just do it because I said so. I mean, everything. You can't get these kind of rents. Well, we're getting them.
Yeah.
And I keep doing that Facebook ad, thousands of views, and their voicemail is completely full, and we're getting them. So they're not saying we can't get them anymore. So everything that, I've asked them to do, sooner or later, I just had to say, just do it, do it, because I said so. And so then they don't, because they're set. They've been doing things for 20 years, but COVID is a different beast. COVID was a whole different beast than 20 years. They don't have COVID ever in their 20 years of managing property.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of different. Yeah. Mine too.
So they can't keep saying I've been doing this for 20 years when you haven't been doing COVID for 20
Nobody's
years.
Been through this before. Nobody else been through this before. Yeah. So let's put the finishing touches on it, because people really need to know. Like if you take a little dumpy house and turn it around, a lot of value. But if you could turn around a 57 unit building, it's going to produce a really big number. I did some math over here just to understand it. It's about to get really exciting. I mean, even if it's 18 months from now, you're going to go back to the bank and refi this, and your NOI is going to be probably doubled, at least doubled. Cap rate, because it's a higher quality, will probably go down, or it should. And that means the value is going to explode, and you're going to get a brand new value. So
I know it's not valued on comparative values, but just in that little area, people that have done what I've done in that little area, those units in that little area are going for about 65 to 70,000 a unit right now that have done what I've been doing. So we, with the work that we've done so far, and we still have to go. We bought it at $2 million. We have a 1.5 million loan, and we feel like it's going to be worth between 4 and 4.5 million in the next 12 months. So when we're talking about if we decide we want to do a refinance event or sell the property, we only had investors, which is myself, family, friends, people I played hockey with for years, stuff like that, about 15 total investors, 4 general partners, the rest are limited partners. We really, we believe that we're going to be able to get, double their money back. Plus we're still going to own the property at another, 10-year fixed, but it may take another 12 to 18 months to do so. In the meantime, cash flow will start rolling in again at a 12% clip, 12 to 15% clip for them in the meantime, the limited partners. Because when you're doing these type of deals, you want the limited partners. I'm a limited partner too, because I invested too. My parents invested too, limited partner side. You want them to be able to get a preferred return. And we set that out at the first 2 years at 6%. And then every year thereafter was 7%. So you want them to get a preferred return. And then the general partners, we don't really get any kind of return until it's past that 6%.
Right.
So, by us doing a great job and doing what we're doing and increasing that NOI and increasing the cash flow, then it goes to a 70-30 split after that, 70% for limited partners and 30% for the general partners. But I'm on that other side also. I'm on limited partners just like them. I invested $40,000 into it. I think we invested $850,000 into that complex in totality, including the down payment and everything that we invested.
That's very cool. Well, it's going to be fun to watch this come through. We'll have to have you back maybe in a little while and see how the property's doing. Is you cool with that?
Yes, that sounds great, Michael.
All right, Swanee. Well, do me a favor. How can people get a hold of you or be part of your world? You're big time on Bigger Pockets.
Yeah. Again, I don't think I talked about this that much if they're just seeing this one, but this is David Lindahl's Multifamily Millions, the book.
Yep.
It's kind of like the Bible of what we do to reposition and value plays. Very high level book on how you do this. Why reinvent the wheel? Because these people have been doing this for, most of them 25, 30 years have been doing this. So they can also, I leave my phone available. They can call me at 858-722-7377. That's my personal cell number. Just don't call me after 10 p.m.
Be respectful, people.
Yeah. For my wife and everything else. I won't answer anyway if you call after 10. Phone number again is 858-722-7377. 858-722-7377. I also text. You can text me also, same thing. Awesome. And then if you want to figure out what we're doing, where we are, we have a website, spmultifamily.com. S is in Swanee, P as in Pike. That's my business partner, Swanee Pike, spmultifamily.com.
That's awesome, Swanee. Thank you very much for this. This has been a great hour. I really appreciate you. And congratulations on financial freedom.
Thank you. Retired as of last Wednesday.
Thanks, brother.